channel. My name is Cheyenne, but for my channel name, I'll be going by Shy Renee. Shy is my nickname, Renee is my middle name. Shy Renee. So in this video today, I just wanted to do a story time on my experience dealing with hospital negligence. I just feel like this is an extremely important topic, and we need to keep on shining light on it, keep on sharing our stories, letting people know that this is something that is very much happening all around the world every single day. And you know, we just all got to learn how to take care of ourselves properly. Don't be afraid to ask questions at any hospital, urgent care, or medical center. And yeah, okay, so I'm gonna try to make a long story short. So this all started last year in August, August 12th to be exact. So I was home, I had worked out, went to go eat some food, and I took a shower. As soon as I stepped out of the shower, I started feeling crazy. I was shivering, but I wasn't cold. And I noticed that I started to get really nauseous. So I brushed it off at first, and I was like, maybe, you know, maybe I'm just cold. Maybe I'm just having a moment. So I went to go lay down, and I'm on FaceTime with my boyfriend, and I start to realize that the nausea is not getting any better. And I'm starting to feel like really just so sick. So I went downstairs and I made me some Theraflu. I drank the Theraflu, and I came back upstairs and laid down in the bed. As I'm laying there, I'm like, okay, I don't feel any better. The nausea's getting worse. I still have like chills, but I'm not cold. Like I'm shivering, it looks like, but I'm really not cold, like at all. So I jumped out of the bed and I left my phone, everything. Just jumped out of the bed and ran to the bathroom because I thought I was gonna throw up. And I don't remember if I threw up or not, but I know I ended up falling asleep on the bathroom floor with a plastic bag next to me in case I did wake up and throw up. And then it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. My mom woke me up and she's like, what is going on? Like, why are you on the bathroom floor? So just a little side note, ever since I was a kid, if I did not feel good in any type of way, I always went to go lay on the bathroom floor. I know that sounds so gross, but
it's just what I would do.
That's only something I would do in my house though, nowhere else. So we went to the hospital, to the emergency room, and you know, the doctors and the nurses, they assessed me, they asked me what's wrong. I let them know that I just feel so nauseous. I feel crazy sick, just, you know, sick to my stomach. And they had taken my temperature. I had taken my temperature as well as at home, and it was, I believe, at 101 or 102. And when they took it in the emergency room, it was the same exact thing. And my heart rate was at like 150, 155. So my heart was beating really fast. And they ended up just hooking me up to saline and telling me that they believed I had a fever. I was then discharged, and that was about 7 o'clock in the morning that me and my mom got back home. I called out of work, let my boss know I could not come in, I was not feeling well, and I went to sleep. I woke up, my mom tried to get me to eat, and I could not eat because I just really was not feeling well at all. So it gets now to the next night. This is Tuesday night. And I'm just feeling worse. Like once nighttime hit, I started to feel worse, and I started shaking so bad. Like it was insane. It was worse than the night before. My shaking was insane, and it was to the point where it was scaring me, and I started crying. So I'm in my bed and I'm laying down, and I tried to call out for my mom, but being that I was shaking so bad, I could not project my voice in any type of way. And I ended up reaching for my phone so I could call her because she's in the room down the hall. So, you know, that was even a task, trying to do that, because I'm shaking so bad I could barely like do anything. So I ended up calling her. She answers, and I couldn't really speak. So she came to my room, and she seen how bad I was shaking, and she was like, oh, no, I'm calling the ambulance. My mom calls the ambulance, and they come in and they see how badly I'm shaking, and they're like, whoa, what's going on? It's shaking kind of bad there. And I'm just like, I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. So they take my temperature. My temperature was at 103. And then they get me into the ambulance. They hook me up to their monitor. You know, my heart rate is at 150, and they put in an IV to hook me up to saline, and they put ice packs underneath my arms, on my head, and I believe the other one was on my stomach. And after a few minutes, that helped, and it made me stop shaking. So they're just like, you went to the hospital yesterday and they let you go home? And I'm just like, yeah. So we get to the hospital, and once we get there, you know, the EMTs are letting them know, okay, this patient was here yesterday, she was discharged, why would y'all discharge her? And I'm like, exactly. Like, he's asking the nurse, and she's just looking at him like, okay, you know. So they put me in a cubicle, and they're talking to me, and they're like, oh, you know, we do think this is just a really bad fever, continue to take Tylenol, and blah blah blah. So now when I get to the hospital, I start feeling pain in my upper abdomen. So right here, like right in this area, I start feeling pain. And I told them, I'm like, I'm having pain as well now in my upper abdomen, and that wasn't there yesterday. So they completely brushed that off, paid no mind to it. The same doctor that discharged me the day before was the same one that was there that night. And he was like, oh, you know, I see that you're back, but you know, this just is really a bad fever. You know, it gets worse before it gets better. Just take the Tylenol, and it should definitely help regulate your temperature. And just a whole bunch of nonsense. I get discharged again, sent back home, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm back home, same thing as the night before. So now this is counting as day 3, Wednesday, and my mom tried to get me to eat because I just could not eat the days before because I just did not feel good at all. I had no appetite. So now this is Wednesday, and it's about, I would say maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and my mom tried to get me to eat, but I couldn't eat because once I swallowed the food, it made my upper abdomen in this area burn. Like, it hurt so bad. And I'm just like, whoa, what is happening? So we ended up going back to the emergency room. My mom was like, they are not discharging you today. And that's just that.
Period.
So we get to the hospital. They bring me back to the triage area to do EKGs and, you know, vitals and all that stuff. My mom is like, I want the name of the administrator on board because I want to know why my daughter keeps getting discharged and nobody's running any tests. So she starts making phone calls of her own, and eventually we're in the emergency room area with all the other patients, and 2 women come down to speak to my mom, and one of them is the director of the emergency department. So they're speaking a little further down away from me. And then the woman comes to me, the director of the emergency room comes to me, and she apologizes, and she's like, hi, I just spoke to your mom. I'm so sorry that you were discharged. We're gonna figure this out today. I'm gonna go take a look at your chart, and I'll be back. So she goes and she looks at my chart, and then she comes back to me and she's like, so I looked at your chart and I see that you said you were having pain in your upper abdomen area. And I'm like, yes, and a very high fever. And she's like, okay, so I'm gonna send you to get an ultrasound done so we can figure out what's going on inside. So I'm like, thank you. Like, this is literally what I was asking them to do the night before when I said I had pain. I wanted them to run tests and do an ultrasound because I'm like, something is wrong. And I thought it was my liver. I thought my liver was messed up. And I'm like, I don't even drink like that. Why would my liver be messed up? But you never know. So I was afraid, but they did no tests until the director got involved. I go for the ultrasound, and what I realized is, like, I could not do anything without feeling pain. I could not walk, I could not sit, I could not turn. On the stretcher, on the way to the ultrasound, we go over any bump in the elevator, on the floors. I feel everything, and it freaking hurts. So I get the ultrasound done, and the tech is pressing, and I'm just like, I have my fist clenched because I'm like, wow, this really hurts. Like, I've never felt anything like this before. He finishes the ultrasound, and he goes to his phone, and he's whispering, and he's like, yeah, she has gallstones. Like, but he's like, you know, yeah, so I did find the gallstones. And I'm like trying to listen, but I can't move that much because it hurts. And I'm like,
excuse me? Hold on, what? Did I hear you correctly?
So immediately I'm just like on that stretcher laying down and I'm shaking my head. I'm like, I knew something was wrong with me, and they discharged me twice. I freaking knew it. We get back to the emergency room and a woman comes up to me and she tells me that she's from the surgery team, and I'm like,
hold on. Hold on. This is just like, shit just got real.
So I'm like, hello. And she's like, I just reviewed your ultrasound and it appears that you do have gallstones and your gallbladder is inflamed. We're gonna give you some antibiotics because we don't know if your gallbladder has ruptured to the point where it has spread to your other organs. Y'all better hope that it did not. I mean, I hope it did not as well, but y'all better hope that it did not. So I'm like, okay, so what is this meaning for me? Like, what happens after this? So she's like, we're gonna give you the antibiotics, we're gonna see if it will help, but I'm gonna be honest with you. There is a very high possibility that we may have to take your gallbladder out. And I was like, oh, hold on. Y'all gonna take one of my organs? Like, excuse me? She's like, yeah, we may have to take it out if the antibiotics don't work. Hearing that, I'm just like, oh my goodness, like, this is crazy. Like, I did not think things were gonna go this far. Like, whoa. With me being in the amount of pain that I was in, I was of course scared because I haven't ever had surgery before. But I'm like, you know what, with how much pain I'm in, if these antibiotics don't work, take it. Like, y'all could take it. So I got admitted, and when I got to my room, my nurse and my mom had to help me walk because that's how much pain I was in. I could not stand up straight. Like, it was just so painful. So I get to my bed, my nurse comes to me and he's like, I'm gonna give you some pain medicine. This is called morphine. And I'm familiar with morphine because I work in a hospital, but I've never had morphine. I've never, had to be given morphine. So he put it into my IV and that thing hit me like this. I was like, whoa, the pain was gone. I'm like, oh my goodness. Wow. I went straight to sleep. I was so happy they gave me that morphine. That thing knocked the pain completely out. I'm like, oh my goodness, I feel 100% better right now. I'm gonna take a little pause from the story really quickly because I want to tell you guys what they diagnosed me with. It was called cholecystitis, and that is an inflammation of your gallbladder, which is caused by the buildup of gallstones. So that's why they started giving me the antibiotics to try to help with the inflammation. And then, if it ended up not working, I would have to get surgery to remove the entire gallbladder. So now they transferred me to a surgery floor where I would stay the rest of my time that I'm there. And they tell me that they want me to go, the doctors told me that they want me to go for this special kind of MRI so they could see deeper what was going on with my gallbladder to know whether the antibiotics were helping or not. And that would that would let me know whether I needed surgery or not. So I get up to go with the transporter because he brings a wheelchair for me, and I immediately just like throw up. So I'm starting to see a pattern as I'm there. Anytime I try to get up and walk or like walk to the bathroom, anything like that, I would throw up. I could not walk anywhere without throwing up. They gave me something for the nausea, and about 15-20 minutes later, I ended up going for the MRI. We got it done. I went back up to my room, and I would say a couple hours later, the doctors came to talk to me and they let me know they reviewed the MRI and they decided that they will need to take the gallbladder out because it is way too infected, it has ruptured, and it's way too inflamed. But the good news was that none of the gallstones or anything leaking from the wall of the gallbladder has gotten anywhere else and infected anything else. so I'm okay. But they do want to continue the antibiotics and the saline. They have me on a monitor, and they're continuing to give me the morphine because now they tell me that I'm gonna get the surgery, but I have to wait until Monday because there is a specific surgeon that they want to do the surgery, and he won't be available until Monday. Now Monday comes and I go for the surgery. I end up going late for the surgery. I believe it was about 3 or 4 that I went for the surgery when I was supposed to go around like 12, I think, or 10 o'clock in the morning. Somewhere around there I was supposed to go early, but the surgeon ended up being late, so it postponed the surgery, delayed it. So I end up going for the surgery, and as I'm in the OR waiting area, still waiting for the surgeon to get there, they said he was almost close, so they wanted me downstairs. So I realized, I'm like, whoa, I think I need to use the bathroom. I had not used the bathroom the entire time I was admitted in the hospital. I did not urinate. I did not do number 2, nothing. And I'm like, all this IVs and fluids and liquids I'm getting, and I'm not using the bathroom. So it started up building. I had so much water weight. I was so swollen. I looked at my toes and my legs. I was so swollen. So I go to the bathroom before the surgery, and I actually was able to go, and I was like, oh my goodness, like I was so excited. I'm like, what? Did I just go? That was the happiest I could have been. Well, I wasn't that excited because, you know, I still had to go for surgery, but I was happy that I went to the bathroom. So we get back into the OR waiting area, and the nurse is waiting for me, and she's like, okay, surgeon is ready, let's get you in. So I say goodbye to my mom, and I think my sister was there with my mom. I'm not exactly sure, but I say goodbye to them. I go in, and they lay me on the operating table. It's so cold in there. They put the face mask on me. They start the anesthesia up. And before I know it, I'm out. I wake back up. I'm in the recovery room, and I don't feel any pain. I'm like, wow. They're like, how do you feel? I'm like, I don't feel any pain, but you know, I'm still a little like out of it. I'm like, I feel good, you know? So they get me back upstairs to my room, and about 30 minutes after I got to my room, the pain kicked
in, and I was like, oh, hold on. Baby, I need pain meds.
Like, I felt so horrible. The pain was worse. They gave me the pain meds, but they had to lower the dosage of the pain meds because of some reason. I forgot. I think they said that you can't go that many days with such a high level of pain meds because then it'll start to, you know, affect you. And I think that that was also a reason why I was throwing up so much. But they had to lower the dosage, but it was still kicking a little bit. It just wasn't lasting as long. Now we get to Tuesday morning, and they allow me to go home because my mom and my best friend were there with me, and I was walking with my best friend Jordan in the hall, and they were like, wow, like that's great, you're walking so you can go home, you know, you just got to follow certain instructions when you get home, but this is really good, we can let you go. So they're discharging me, and I get dressed. My best friend is getting in the car, so he's outside, and I get up to get off the bed to sit on a chair, and immediately I start throwing up. The nurse is like, oh no, like, you know, if you throw up again, we may have to keep you a little bit longer just to monitor you. And I'm like, oh God, no. I don't want to be back in that bed. That bed made my back hurt so much. So I didn't throw up again after about like 15 minutes of them just watching me. And then she's like, okay, I'm just going to give you some crackers and juice to go home with. And, you know, if your throwing up gets any worse, or, you know, your pain gets any worse and the medication is not helping, just call and let someone know, come back, blah, blah, blah. So I'm sent home with a list of medications. And the recovery process was kind of like, it was kind of tough because I couldn't sleep on a certain side, almost any side, but my right side for sure I could not sleep on. I had to sleep on my left side. And when I'm sleeping, I like to turn on both sides. So that was really hard because of the pain. I could not eat anything for about a week and a half maybe. I would try to nibble at fruits because that's all I could really tolerate. Anything else, I really could not do. I would want to throw it up. I tried to walk around here and there because I didn't want to make myself, you know, disabled. And every time I got up to try to walk around or to use the bathroom, I would throw a bile. So it was really tough. but you know, after a while it got better, and I was able to finally eat a tuna sandwich about a week and a half. I think a week and a half. I ate a tuna sandwich and it tasted like everything. I was so freaking happy. But yeah, I won't say 100% recovered because I still have a couple issues with not having my gallbladder. So, you know, the one important thing that I wanted to say of why and how I knew that this could have gone 10 times worse, and I probably would not be sitting here today if it did. There was a doctor who came to speak to me after the surgery, and she was just like, I'm so glad, you know, that this all went so well. I'm so sorry that you were discharged twice and they did not look deeper into what was going on with you, because you could have gone septic if you did not come back to this hospital. So for those of you who don't know, if you go septic, that basically means that, you know, your organs, more than one at that, are infected. If multiple organs are infected, there's very much a chance that you're going to die. And if I did not go back to the hospital that third day, and I was just like, I'm going to just see how this fever plays out, I could have died, because with my gallbladder being inflamed and infected, it could have traveled to more of my organs, and that could have took me out, you know. So I'm just grateful that I did stay persistent. I did not stay home and believe it was a fever and just take Tylenol. I went back, and my mom was like, no, y'all are gonna run some tests, period. And with her doing that, we found out what the problem really was, and it was solved. I kind of do think about this, and I'm like, what if they did do an ultrasound the second day when I told them I'm having pain here? Would they have been able to save my gallbladder? Like, I think about things like this, but I'm like, you know what? I'm just glad that I am safe, I am alive, I am happy, I am healthy after this surgery. And yeah, I'm just here to let you guys know to take your health seriously. Don't let someone just tell you it's nothing, that it's not serious. If you need to get a second opinion, go and do that. But make sure you take care of yourself. You ask questions. You put your foot down. You let them know that I'm not just going to take no, or I'm going to take this as an answer. Make sure you do your research. I almost forgot to mention. So the kind of surgery that I got to remove my gallbladder was a laparoscopic surgery, which means that they make a few tiny incisions on the abdomen. I think a little camera goes through one of the incisions, and the tools that they use go through the other ones where they remove it. So I'm going to show you guys what my incisions look like. This is one up here at the top, and then there's two on this side that are small, and then I have another one like in my belly button, but you can't really see that one like that. But yeah, so those are scars that I will have for life. I am not ashamed of them or anything, you know. It is what it is. It's just a part of my story now at this point. So yeah, that is my video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe. You can share this video if you would like. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.